Hi, Pisces Sun and Rising. Welcome to your January 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. There's an unusually lot of placements in Capricorn this month, which in a sense isn't surprising because it's Capricorn season, but we have additional stuff like Pluto there as well, and just the fact that there are retrogrades that will be in Capricorn with personal planets that are, we don't always see. So to me, that's activity that I'm referring to. So Capricorn for you is the 11th house of hopes and wishes, also the house of gains. So this could have a financial outcome for you, and that could be positive. And as the month begins, Venus is retrograde in this area. And so I feel like, and I don't know if I read this or I'm just assuming this, that Venus retrograde can have similar effects as Jupiter retrograde financially in terms of missed opportunities coming back to bless you. So in other words, actually gaining from the retrograde from maybe old clients, or when I say clients, I mean I'm referring to your career itself, because that's the 10th house, not necessarily one-on-one relationships, but just being, in the broader sense of whatever it is that you do, and having people around you that give you your business come back into your life in some way. Maybe they recommend you to other people, and it's kind of it's kind of like a once removed type of situation. On the 2nd of the month, there's a new moon in this sector at 12 degrees of Capricorn. And like I said, this is the house of hopes and wishes. So there was an astrologer named Jan Spiller who has made her transition, and she had a book about the new moons, and I don't know if she mentioned full moons, but she talked about making wishes. I think like 40 wishes with the new moon, or I don't know if she said 40 wishes for the new moon in the 11th house, or was that on your birthday? I think it was the 11th house, because she called this the luckiest house. And, if you are one of those people who thinks that there's power at this time, you might want to try something like that. 40 is quite extensive. I don't know if I could think up 40 things, but being intentional about this just in a general way could be you brainstorming about some of those long-range goals you have for the future. And it would definitely be featured here since there's so much going on. On the very same day, Mercury goes into Aquarius, and this is your 12th house. And you rule the 12th house, Pisces, so you have a special affinity for this area. And I think that can mean that it affects you differently than it does other people. Like maybe you don't feel as uncomfortable when plants are in the 12th house, because this is kind of tying up loose ends, preparing for a new cycle. This can be past life influences coming to the surface, because the 12th house can be the unconscious mind and things like that. So that can be a little bit weird sometimes, because it's funny because sometimes I have those kinds of psychic hits, and I say to myself, okay, is either my solar chart, do I have the Mercury in the 12th house there, or in my natal chart, what's going on? Because it seems like I have all this deja vu, and I'm like, even if it's something that's from childhood that's like really buried. It's really fascinating, but by the same token, it can be disorienting because it feels like reality and fantasy, the past and the present get kind of confused. And yeah, very, very unusual. Definitely not a linear mentality at this time. Very psychic. On the 14th, Mercury retrogrades at 10 degrees in this house. So maybe some of you will get tempted to do a past life regression. That's always a possibility because Saturn has taken up residence in this house for the last year and will be here in 2022 also. So Saturn can be your future career endeavors and also, something that you choose to build a firm foundation regarding. And so usually I think of something like training, especially with the 12th house. It has some kind of metaphysical bent to it. So you might just be reviewing your life or past lives. Mercury retrograde here, it's like kind of a little bit. But I would say, too, look at your self-defeating thoughts because the 12th house is a house of self-undoing. And part of that, or probably the origin of all self-destruction, begins with thoughts, begins with negative self-talk. Look at that at this time and see how you do that, if you do it, and you can make that change and you don't have to continue those patterns. On the 17th, we have a full moon at 27 degrees of Cancer. This is going to be in your 5th house. Pisces, full moon here can bring romantic revelations, can be like, maybe you've been palling around someone who is really more of a love interest and you didn't realize it. Sometimes people have friends, I was going to say of the opposite sex, but to make it more inclusive for the friends of the gender that you're attracted to romantically, you might have friends of that gender, and it's almost like, oh yeah, this isn't my type, and then something happens that makes you realize, what am I, crazy? This person has been with me through thick and thin, and I'm like acting like they're not good enough for a relationship when they're like the perfect one, something like that. You could be ending some sort of infatuation or ending your pining away for somebody, because the 5th house in general is about love, and the full moon can bring that to its peak, or maybe put it to rest finally, and then you feel that you're ready for love. Next day on the 18th, Uranus goes direct at 10 degrees of Taurus. So now we're looking at the other side, a sextile in the other direction. This is the 3rd house. This is where you've had Uranus transiting for several years. That's very psychic because you've got Mercury in the 12th. Mercury is a ruler of the 3rd house. So having Uranus in the 3rd going direct is very good for psychic spiritual pursuits. But when I say spiritual, they're more unconventional spiritual instead of like a dogmatic religion. They're going to be more free-flowing. And I was thinking about this the other, like yesterday, because I was thinking about how my beliefs have migrated from, starting with organized religion, which I never really bought into wholeheartedly to begin with, but starting with that, having that background, and then, and specifically Western, Christianity, and specifically liberal Christian, Then going into Eastern thought, but that's still organized religion. And then getting involved with metaphysics, and that including, so many things, even like reincarnation and all that kind of stuff. And then now galactic information. And I think this is really associated with Aquarius and Uranus. So that might be something that has been what you've been involved with. When Uranus is in your third house, you want to break free from the mundane. The third house can be mundane knowledge, and you want to break free from that. You don't want to just live this life where you're just gathering knowledge for the sake of knowledge. I mean, for to live in this world because you know that there's more to this world than that there's more to life than this world. So it's like having freedom from all of those beliefs, and it can also be freedom from the mundane messages that we receive about life. And saying, you know what, I don't believe those things anymore. I don't believe what they're telling us. I don't believe the news. The third house can be the media. I don't believe that anymore. I'm going to think for myself. And some of my ideas are really out there. But you know what? It is what it is. On the 19th, the sun goes into Aquarius. And again, we're talking about that 12th house. This is your hibernation period. You might feel more like you want to nest or hibernate or be by yourself. 24th, Mars goes into Capricorn. Mars going into the 11th house. So you've had Mars in the career sector for the first 3 weeks of the month, Pisces. That could be very good to jumpstart your career after the holidays. And now it's going into the 11th house, so it is really idealistic here. Maybe you're enlisting other people, networking to benefit yourself career-wise. The very next day, Mercury goes into Capricorn, so that's in this 11th house. This is where the action is, as I stated. And so there's a lot going on here. You have Pluto in this house. And this can really affect the people that you surround yourself with. And how that plays out for you depends on what else is going on in your life. For some people, because of the career angle, this is actually helping them to open doors, to gain those contacts. But for other people, this may be something that you need on a personal level. If you have left a relationship and you want to have that kind of support system, that might be what you're really getting active about. Or if you just want to take the focus off of romance for a while and you want to just simply meet with people, maybe you make this, you have this realization that you try to get your social needs met through a romantic partner, and that's not always a wise thing, because, if you're with the wrong person, it can isolate you or something like that. So Mercury dips back into Capricorn. It is retrograding. In that 11th house, you could be definitely calling up old friends, and maybe like really old friends from high school or something like that, or hearing from them, communicating with them in some way. On the 29th, Venus goes direct at 11 degrees of Capricorn, where it's been in this area. And, like I said, you have this potential for financial gain through this house. And Venus is going to be here through early March because of the the fact that the retrograde has occurred, it has slowed down her transit. So she kind of is parked in this area for the next like 5 weeks, was really good because it's an area that you could see financial gain from. So yeah. Okay, that's what I have for you, Pisces. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care.